Hey everybody, it's Warren here, hanging out on another cold Saskatchewan night where you can hear the wind howling again through the door in our studio. And we are sitting here with a very special guest, super special to me. And she is celiac, and we all know what that is. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have her on, other than an obvious reason that I'll let you know soon, but we were started up this 30-day challenge, and a couple of the ladies who signed up for it are gluten intolerant and celiac, and they were asking me my opinions on what they should be eating, and I friggin' don't know. Really, I've never even worried about it. I've never ever had to worry. That's why I eat a loaf of bread every 2 days. It's because gluten doesn't bother me at all. So I've never really followed it much. I understand the basics of it, but I have always said that if I didn't know what you're asking, I would find out, for you, or find somebody who knows. So without further ado, this is someone who knows, and it's my sister Rhonda.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, we don't
We've
see
got
each
a
other
cold,
ever
blustery day. Yeah, we got a cold,
till
blustery
this.
day here in Alberta as well. So
Yeah, very cool. No, I had these ladies, and that was their whole thing. They wanted to know my advice on what they should be eating with this anabolic diet, and they were gluten intolerant and celiac. So that's what I'm like. And again, I'm no bullshit. I don't know. If I don't know, I'm good. I'll tell you that, but I want to find out. So I know you are. How long have you been?
well, as you know, growing up was a pretty sickly child. Had a lot of allergies and things I was diagnosed. And as time went along, I got more sick, I would say. It was just having a lot of symptoms that they basically diagnosed me with irritable bowel syndrome. So I didn't think anything of it. I was being treated for it. I had prescriptions, and I would struggle quite a bit because all of a sudden I'm somewhere where I need to find a washroom, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of, it's an embarrassing thing, but it's also something that I had to deal with. And then I had read about celiac disease. I had tried, and I actually did an online challenge with a different workout group quite a few years ago. And I tried an elimination diet. And I actually lost a bunch of weight, but I also felt a lot better too. And where elimination diet was, you basically take out all the common allergens like wheat, dairy, eggs, everything, and you uh, gradually bring them back in one at a time and see how you feel. And I know dairy and gluten were two things that didn't feel so good when I came back with them, but then there's beer and there's pizza and all those things.
All the good
So,
stuff. Exactly.
so anyways, and then I also had, I started getting a really bad, extremely itchy skin condition. I had to go went and got a biopsy and everything, and they just said it was some type of psoriasis that it couldn't, just gave me cortisone cream and things like that.
Yeah.
And then actually I found out that there were some people being tested positive for celiac disease
Hmm.
in some blood relatives. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to the doctor. I have this information. I've done a lot of research. I'm going to go and say, I want this blood test. It's basically tests for antibodies in your blood because gluten causes an autoimmune reaction
Mm-hmm.
or if you're celiac and damages the villi of your small intestine. So I went to the doctor. I said, I'd like this blood test. He says, I don't really think you need it, but I will run it because he just thought I was irritable bowel, right? So my test results came back and he said, wow, they're pretty through the roof. You
Crazy.
should probably go on a gluten-free diet.
Crazy. Huh. Huh.
So yeah, I didn't end up getting the biopsy done, but the antibody levels tested
Yeah.
very good. So then
Yeah.
like, okay, let's try this out. It didn't go away immediately, all my
Yeah. I
symptoms.
was wondering how long it would take,
Yeah,
how long
they
it took.
said it's a good 3 months. And in that time, there were some things I immediately felt better. Like I used to have a foggy brain all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I used to get canker sores all the time, things like that. Those things and a
Huh.
headache. Those things what cleared up right away.
Isn't
But the
that
stomach
something?
your guts take quite a while to heal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
So,
pretty raw, I would imagine, inside.
and then along the way, I found out that I had to cut. I used to be a huge milk drinker. I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember, my nickname was Moo when I
It
was
was. I remember. Absolutely. I know.
growing up on a farm with a milk cow. We had
That's
access to a
right.
lot.
Yeah. And I
Um,
hated milk. That was the total opposite.
and I loved
Ah,
it.
nasty
But
crap. I don't know how you even drank
yeah,
that stuff.
I
Gross.
found out along the way I couldn't drink milk anymore. It would my
Yeah.
stomach would immediately get upset.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still eat some cheese, and as long as it's not too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's cool.
yeah, so yeah, and then
Interesting.
all those things cleared up. Like even things like I always had got in trouble at the dentist because my gums would always bleed and be inflamed
Yeah.
and things like that. All that went away, and
Huh. We have a really
yeah,
good friend. Well, I can probably throw his name out. I'm not going to throw his name out there. Friends of ours from here that were in Texas with us for our wedding. He just found out he's celiac. And Paula said, well, it makes sense because he's always been sick. He's always got to have a bathroom close by. That's how it was, right? So, yeah, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I just eat bread. Like it's
Yeah,
good.
and so does
It's
my whole
valuable.
family except for me. So
I
I
know.
did make some gluten-free bread today, and
Yeah.
I found a recipe.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I got my test results and I never did answer that question. It was
Yeah.
2009 when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
So it's been 11
7 years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
remember
I
when you
was a
were.
huge baker.
Mhm.
I think you remember that too. I used to bake a lot of
Yeah.
cookies
Yeah.
and things
Yeah.
like that. So I really struggled trying to find things that tasted good, that
Hmm.
were good for me. Like I don't want to eat a bunch of crap.
Yeah. Huh.
There's all just it's the gluten-free world is just totally different because you're trying to replicate that gluten,
Yes.
in baking, right? So I did
Yes.
bake. I found a good bread during
Huh.
COVID. I found a really good bread recipe that I've perfected, and so I've every couple of weeks I make a couple loaves, and
So
yeah,
you need to make a cookbook.
oh, I don't know. What I do is I refer, like a lot of people will ask me for recipes or, how do you start out with a gluten-free lifestyle? I know a lot of the younger
Hmm.
kids are getting diagnosed as well. And so I'll have moms
Yeah.
coming to me, what do I do? Where do I start? And so I start off with some basic things. Like if you're going to buy bread, these are some of the brands there's better things coming out all the time because there
Yeah.
was that there
Yeah.
was a trend to eat gluten-free
Oh, I
with a
know. I
wheat
know.
belly book and all that,
I
right?
know. I know.
It actually helped all of us who are celiac because they started making all these products. They were like, oh wow, this bread is actually pretty good. It's not like some of it is awful and it tastes like
Oh,
cardboard.
yes. I remember, and Paul will attest to this story. That was when we were teaching at Niagara School of Imaging. And we're in St. Catharines at the big gala at the end of the whole big photo convention thing we were teaching at. And we're all sitting around the table, and I'm mowing down my free buns and stuff. And then some dude come along, waiter all fancy with this white bread on a friggin' plate. And I go, yeah, I'll take one of those. And tongs it onto my plate. And I sit there and I throw the whole thing in my mouth and pretty much gagged. It was gluten free
Yeah,
dust.
I've been served some
Bad.
of that when I've gone to conferences or things like that, and
Yeah.
here's your gluten-free sandwich. It's like, oh, lovely.
Yeah, it was nasty, like freaking nasty. There's actually a picture of me on my Facebook posted. I think Jay Terry posted it because they took a
Yeah,
picture of me and I'm just like, this stuff is just like, there's no freaking way I
yeah,
could eat that. Uh, so
yeah.
does it affect your training per se? I guess you just got to watch your diet. The thing is, you can still get good carbs. Like oatmeal's okay, isn't it?
I actually was I will eat some gluten-free oats, but I
Yeah.
can't eat it every day because I actually that was one of
Hmm.
my things that I tested positive
Yeah.
for being allergic to back when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was eating oatmeal and then that rash was coming back and I had to cut it out. I eat
Gotcha.
I'll make like
Gotcha.
energy balls with
Yeah.
gluten-free oats,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so I have allergies too, this mix in
Yeah.
with everything else.
Yeah. So, I mean, it comes down to just finding what works for you, basically.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is since the beginning is I'm always trying to find ways to get protein in, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
like the gluten-free bread that I make, it has some brown rice flour, but also has like quinoa flour in it. It has lots of eggs in it
Yeah.
and whole grain, like gluten-free grains
Hmm.
that are good for you, right? Because not only is it protein, but and good forms of fiber, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like been my goal, and I think we had this discussion earlier about protein powders.
Hmm.
A lot of them are dairy based,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
I struggle with that. So I've tried a lot of different kinds, and then quite a few years ago, I stumbled across this collagen powder, which I know is the big thing
It's
right
the fad
now.
now. Yeah. Everybody's
But
got their
I like
collagen.
that's basically cold
Yeah.
water soluble gelatin.
Yep.
So I just put it in my smoothies.
Yeah.
It's tasteless. It doesn't
Yeah.
make a weird texture or anything.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
yeah,
cool.
and it helps your skin and your hair and everything
Yeah.
else too.
I just put a teaspoon of it in my coffee pretty much every day. I have for a long time. And more for like my hair and joints and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, the joints.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah.
old. That's what happens when you friggin' get old.
Yeah.
It's what we're 3 years apart, right?
Yes,
You're getting old too.
I'm getting close to the big 50.
Yeah. You hit that one. That's the 1 year that affected me. I never,
Really?
not one birthday in my life affected me really. I could have cared less. But when I hit 50, it was like there was a switch that flipped. It was like a weird, weird sensation. Because I
Really?
guess there's a
No.
lot of times growing up I didn't think I'd ever make 50, to be honest.
Oh,
And you
wow.
knew me.
I'm always careful, so I thought I'd make 50, but
Yeah, I wasn't
40 I think
ever.
was bigger for me.
Yeah,
40, now that I'm over 40, I'm like, you know what? Every day is a blessing and if I make it each day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think that's also from the lifestyle point of view is I
yeah.
need to lift weights and I need to do things so that when I am older, I'm able to be mobile, right? That's my
Damn
goal.
right. Damn right. Absolutely, without question. And that's me too. It's like, why would we not want to take care of ourselves? And again, if you don't want to, whatever. I don't really care. Obviously, we both believe in it, being healthy and eating good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's the way to be. I want to be that 60-year-old grandpa that's, still kind of freaking got abs and stuff, as long as I can stay injury free.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's like
so
my
you train,
mother-in-law,
what's that?
65, and she walks 8 kilometers a day and
Very
lifts
cool. Very cool.
goats,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
energy.
amazing. Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of hooked into this whole lifestyle thing now. What it does, because it honestly did got me through this whole COVID shit. Honestly,
Oh,
if I wasn't doing it, I don't know
yeah.
where I'd be. And
Oh,
that's real.
I've always struggled with anxiety and making sure that I get in
Yeah,
5 days a week of workouts is what has helped me keep me sane through all of this.
you bet.
And
You
like
bet.
hard workouts where you're like dripping sweat, like I didn't think I would like that, but as I get older, it's like, you know what? I just need to challenge myself and
Yeah.
work hard because in that moment, you're not thinking about and worrying about anything else. You're just
Nope.
wanting to get through that. I was doing a Tabata workout today for 30 minutes where I was just
Yeah.
using body weight where it was 20 seconds
Yep.
on, 10 seconds off. I did
Yeah.
that nonstop for 30 minutes. And like I get towards the end, I was like, I don't know if I can do anymore. I was like, oh, one round left, I'm gonna do it, And I didn't
Damn
have
right.
anything else to think about. I
Yep.
that's just trying to get through that 20 seconds there
Yeah.
for a good half hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't even, rarely will I even look at my phone. If it
yeah,
rings, I glance to see in case it's important, obviously.
yeah.
But for the most part, I can see it on my watch, but I could care less. I won't respond. I That's 60 to 90 minutes a day that I need for my own freaking, I have
Exactly.
to be in there to figure shit out.
Yeah,
Right? That's the reality. If I'm not in there figuring shit out, no, that's not
yeah,
good. So that's my daily, look inward, so to speak. So
exactly.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good thing. And I almost feel, and it sounds really cheesy and corny, but when I'm in there, it's almost spiritual, like
Hmm.
a hippie way kind of thing. It is. It's like you're trying to get that mind muscle connection and just be able to
Yeah,
control it in every way, like full control. That's the ultimate thing. And there's
yeah.
something cool about that. Yeah, right on. And you have a trainer, online trainer, don't you? No, you have one too.
Was doing online during COVID.
Yeah,
I needed to do something at home, and now I'm seeing her with a couple other women,
cool.
one of my coworkers and her sister.
Yeah,
So we see her every Tuesday at lunch.
very cool.
And so yeah, she used to do bodybuilder competitions and things like that. So she knows, what one thing I like is she knows the proper form for weights. Cause so like we do a whole variety of things. We'll do circuit training, but then sometimes we'll use the weight machines and stuff. And
Mhm.
I was doing like the lat pull downs and I'm like, I feel like it's just all in my neck. She goes, oh,
Oh,
you gotta keep your chest out more. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Like we have a
yeah,
thing at home that we can
yeah,
do like pull
absolutely.
downs, but I was like,
Yeah,
until you had a personal trainer examining everything that I did, it was like,
yeah,
okay, well, that's why parts of the body hurt that aren't supposed to, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And she's like, okay, I'm throwing some more weight on, when I start doing some, she goes, so last time she even asked, like, we were doing some sort of squats or something. She goes, did you want more weight? I'm like, yeah, put it on.
Damn right. Damn
But it's
right. It's what
like,
it's all about, is pushing yourself that way. And
yeah,
again, that's what makes you better, right?
yeah, for
You can
sure.
just sit at status quo and that's where you sit. There's no other way to describe
Yeah,
it. If you want to push it past that and suck it up and endure a little pain,
yeah,
that's when the growing happens. And that's, one of the biggest things you can tell people. And, just you got to get your headspace where you're, yeah, I'm going to fricking do it. That's what it is. And once you
yeah.
do it a few times, it's addictive.
It
I
is.
understand the apprehension and how,
It
some people starting out are afraid of that,
is.
right? Like pushing it to that. But once you do it a few times, all of a sudden you're like, shit, that's how it works, you know?
That's spin class for me. Like
Yeah.
I started going once a week, and lately I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I think you can do 2 days a week. So
Yeah.
we're fortunate to have a spin studio here, and I'm hoping it'll stay
Absolutely.
open. um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so that's another thing where I'm like, a lot of times partway through the class is a 50-minute class.
Yeah.
Partway through, I'll be like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Because it's hard, right? But then you get to
But
the
that's
end
what
and
it's
you
about.
feel so good.
That's what it's about in a
Yeah, I'm
sadistic way.
addicted to that one.
Yeah, Paula loves it too, actually. She hasn't been in a few weeks and she's chomping to get going, but we're in a
Yeah,
busy time of year. That's the reality with
yeah,
what we're doing. So I'd like to get more of these podcasts going right now, but it's a big balance of taking care of photography, which pays my bills right now,
Yeah.
and doing this essentially because I do love it,
Yeah.
doing this kind of thing. So I got to balance it. That's what it is. Well, that's cool. No, like I say, I just wanted to chat, in regards to that and different places, training history, like your quality of life, and how did we talked about all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cool. If you could come on board and talk to some of these people, like I say, a couple of the ladies in the challenge, and
Yeah.
so I think that's pretty cool, and they were excited and waiting for this. So we'll get it
Yeah,
done.
and I do, along the way, I've
Yeah.
found a lot of things with like almond flour and coconut flour and
Mhm.
things like that. So
Mhm.
then you're getting that higher protein, higher fat
Yeah, yeah,
as well.
exactly, exactly.
The one word of advice I have for people who, if they just find out or if they're trying to find, is don't buy all that processed stuff in the stores. Like it's
For
no different
anybody
than
and
like food
anything,
store stuff.
don't buy all
It,
the processed stuff.
no, it's not good.
No, no,
It's
stay
just
away from that. I say
yeah.
that, but I eat freaking grenade bars.
Also, yeah, they're even to this, me to those. So that's my treat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it beats
But
eating a
yeah,
Mars bar for sure.
yeah. But I like, and I stick to like we eat a lot of meat, and
Yep,
we I
it's
know
awesome.
I've got two teenage boys and a husband, and the teenage boys are just about eating us out
Yeah,
of house and home. So we eat a lot,
yeah,
potatoes and rice, or like a gluten-free pasta, which is usually rice based anyway. So
yeah,
between, we try and make a lot of meals that are naturally gluten free.
yeah,
So you're not
yeah,
relying on any sort of processed items, right? So you're
yeah,
just
yeah,
cooking something. And so that's, I think, and then getting your food prep in. Like if you're going to be away from home,
yeah,
I always carry around my snacks with me in case I'm
yeah,
in a place where
yeah,
there's no food that I can eat, like hockey arenas.
yeah,
I always have
exactly.
popcorn food.
Oh yeah, probably not much in hockey arenas, that's for sure.
No, maybe
Yeah,
popcorn, that's about it.
yeah, exactly. I eat popcorn every night. Paula loves her popcorn anyway. We get that smart pop. I
Mhm.
mean, low cal dance food, as Greg Doucette would say, and it's freaking awesome. You can eat a bag of popcorn next to no calories in it and
Yeah,
fills you up because it's so much fiber, right? And they're pretty awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we eat lots of that stuff, which is cool. Well, right on. No, that was awesome. Very cool. Any other info for the masses out there?
Um,
My 79 followers on YouTube.
yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure that, like, I think that you could, like,
Yeah,
people say it must be so hard. And the only time I think it's hard is when I'm away from home. When I'm
yeah,
at home, I can make anything gluten free. Like I'll even
yeah,
just eat a can of tuna with some seasonings in it on some crackers or whatever, to get a
yeah.
big blast of protein. I actually found some little, they're tuna snack packs, and they actually come with gluten-free rice crackers.
Well, that's
So I
cool.
keep
Very cool.
those I'll keep those in my purse or at work or whatever. So if I'm
Yeah,
hungry and I
yeah,
need some, I always
yeah,
make sure I have protein at every time I eat.
yeah.
And I am actually hypoglycemic as well, so I have to
Okay.
eat 2 to 3 hours. So I make sure I have protein every time I eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, and most protein and lots of nuts and things like that, but a lot of protein
Mhm.
is gluten free. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I eliminate a lot. I used to eat a lot of almonds and stuff, and then just calories. Now they're just such
yeah,
high calories, so I
yeah,
kind of stay away from them. I've
yeah.
evolved my diet, yeah, from eating
I
cheese,
measure out my
bacon puffs.
almonds. I measure them out, and I don't leave the bag within reach.
Yeah.
This is how many. This is 150 calories worth of almonds, and my apple or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's good.
I could grab a bag of almonds and mow them down in about 3 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
like
problem. Yeah, and then I've reached half my daily freaking calories in one bag of almonds. That's like
yeah,
avocados. I love avocados, But I was eating a lot of them back when I was doing like the keto-y thing, right? Or back
Yeah.
in my lower carb thing. And now I eat lots of carbs, so my avocados had to go by the wayside. I'll still have them sometimes. We had them for supper, but I know that if I'm eating that avocado, on something of carbs has to give a little bit, right?
Well, you have to, it's all total calories. It's
Totally
calories
is. I
in,
go on total calories. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100%. And that's the coolest thing. And then I'm making French toast waffles for supper.
Are you gonna get tired of that eventually?
Never. I love it. I eat that every day. Sometimes, like I say, I had it twice the other day. I love it. It's like, because you can do so
Yeah.
much. You make a really good, and I do it more like a bread pudding. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
crispy on the outside and like really super,
Yeah.
moist on the inside. So it's like super nummy. And I put strawberries or blueberries or whatever all
Yeah.
over it. Bananas and a chocolate syrup. It's pretty
Yeah.
damn
That,
good on it, So, and I use an ice cream whey protein
oh,
flavored,
okay.
like it's an ice cream flavored, and it's
Yeah.
pretty damn good in there.
Yeah.
But I like
Yeah.
sweets.
I like, see, I've turned more into a salty person. So like, I like I'm gonna make some pork button bones. I'm putting them in
Oh
the
yeah.
Instant Pot
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That'd be super good.
potatoes, whatever. But yeah, like we generally like and when we make rice, we put half white, half brown
Yep.
because the kids probably wouldn't eat it if it was all brown. But yeah, so
I
and
like
I made
wild rice.
the thing, other than the grenade bars, I also make up my own little energy balls with like peanut butter, and I'll put some of the protein powder, like chocolate protein
Yeah.
powder, and then like oats and some little mini chocolate chips or something in it, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's a little bit of something that's sweet, but it's not like overly unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I haven't eaten real peanut butter in a long time. Paula bought some today for her. I use
Oh,
PB2 all the time, and I put
yeah, I
that
know you're
PB2
on
and
to that.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's my favorite thing in the world. I put that in with that Jello pudding. That's just like my
I
crack every
don't.
day.
Yeah, I don't eat that much peanut butter. So I used to eat peanut butter toast every morning when I wasn't
Yeah.
celiac. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Yeah.
now I have egg. Like that's why in the morning I want eggs because I need that something salty.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
have something sweet, I find like just puts me
Yeah.
off or something.
Yeah. And I usually flip. Like one morning I'll have French toast, right? And
Yeah,
then the next morning I'll have eggs. So I had eggs, like I was savory this morning. So
yeah.
that's why tonight Paula won't eat it, but I'll make, and I got a new waffle maker because I got some
Oh,
really cool anabolic waffle recipes that are really awesome that I used to make years ago, actually, that I never really, so I'm gonna, do a
I've
couple
got a good
of that.
one that's it uses almond flour and tapioca starch. So it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
basically tapioca starch is like the tapioca balls, I think, ground up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, and then bit of coconut powder, but like tons of
Hmm.
eggs in it. So, and everyone like I served them when mom and dad were here one time, and dad's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, these waffles ever good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're gluten free."
Yeah, well, I remember like obviously Tegan used to be vegan, right?
Yeah,
And so I remember getting a cake. We got a cake made for her convocation or whenever she got her, yeah, I guess her convocation from med school. So, and we ended up getting a vegan cake. Well, it was like a two-tier thing, and part of it was vegan and part of it was for everybody else. The vegan one was better,
yeah, yeah,
much better. It's the best way to bake, absolutely, without
yeah,
question. Used applesauce and all that kind of stuff. It
yeah.
was freaking good.
Yeah, like some of the I make from a recipe from a almond flour cookbook, like chocolate cupcakes. They're the best chocolate cupcakes I've ever had in my life. Like they're
Yeah.
because you
Yeah, that's
use it has
exactly it.
coconut flour, but there's tons of eggs in them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And oil and whatever. So
Yep.
it's like, oh, very
My
good.
French toast is egg whites, basically. The odd time I used to throw a yolk in, like a whole egg with it. But for the most part, it's, basically 30 to 45 grams of, of protein worth of egg
Yeah.
whites. So a cup and a half kind of thing, right? And then
Uh-huh.
4 to 5 slices of bread. Soak her all up with a scoop of protein powder to flavor it like ice cream.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, that was awesome, Rhonda. I appreciate you offering up your time. Well, offering them your brother. You're supposed to do it anyway. That's what it is. But thank you for hanging out and answering questions and telling everyone your story about being a celiac and what's involved, in regards to your health and what you're doing to stay healthy with it and the choices that you make to live a pretty friggin' awesome lifestyle. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this. You got a quiet house there. Doesn't sound like the boys are home yet, so I'll give you
No.
some you time before the evening. It's my sister Rhonda. She's awesome, Rhonda Lafrance, and we're gonna put your links. I'll put them down below in the comments as well. So we'll get that all done. And yeah, I appreciate coming on this. It's my WW Lifestyles podcast. Super kind of pumped about the name, you know, have, are, and will. Have inspired, are inspiring, and will inspire. That's what this podcast is all about. People that, in my opinion, fit into all three of those categories. So, yep, that's it. Thanks so much for
All
hanging
right.
out.
Well, thank you and keep on going. That's all I have to say is that you're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. Thank you. One more.
Okay.
Hanging out with my sister Rhonda. We'll talk till later.
You.